welcome to our press segment where we shed light on the most prominent headlines in today's newspaper. And we start with some local news, and we read from Egypt Today. Madbouli reviews Matruh project, Alam al-Room development, and the Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli launched an extensive tour of Matruh Governorate to inaugurate and inspect several development and service projects, including Alam al-Room development. Madbouli said the government had implemented numerous projects across Matruh in recent years to improve residents' quality of life, create employment opportunities, and support integrated urban development. The project covers new cities, ports, modern road networks, seawater desalination plants, drinking water and sanitation facilities, healthcare infrastructure, and electricity services. And they also include the first line of Egypt's high-speed electric rail network linking Ain Sokhna, Alamein and Matruh. And the trial operations are scheduled to begin in September 2026. And during the tour, Madbouli reviewed progress on the Alam al-Room project, a major investment partnership between Egypt and Qatari Diyar. The development is intended to create a new economic and urban hub on the north coast as part of Egypt's plans to maximize the use of coastal land and establish well-planned tourism and residential communities. Madbouli said Alam al-Room would be developed as a fully integrated world-class city operating throughout the year rather than as a seasonal tourism resort. And from Andalu Agency, next we're moving to Andalu Agency, and we read, the Prime Minister Abdulati urges implementation of Gaza roadmap, Israeli withdrawal. Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati on Sunday stressed the importance of implementing all agreed provisions of the Gaza roadmap, including the Israeli withdrawal from the enclave. And Egyptian Foreign Ministry statement said, and Abdulati spoke by phone with Nikolai Mladenov, the Board of Peace High Representative for Gaza, to discuss developments in the Palestinian enclave and efforts to implement the Gaza's plan. And the two officials reviewed progress on implementing the roadmap, with Abdulati emphasizing the need to ensure the full, safe and sustainable delivery and humanitarian aid and the complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. And to know more details, we are delighted to be joined over the phone with Mr. Mohamed Sheta, the international media expert. Good morning, Mr. Mohamed.
A very beautiful good morning to you and to all the distinguished viewers of Nile TV.
Thank you for joining us. And let's start with our question here. How do you assess Egypt's efforts to ensure the implementation of the second phase of the Gaza roadmap plan?
Well, Egypt has been always very firm on implementing the rules of the Gaza plan, and even before that, Egypt has always been defending the rights of the Palestinians to have their own country and rule themselves. And this is nothing new, and Egypt has always been, and especially His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has always been objecting the aspiration of Israel in denying the rights of the Palestinians and in also capturing larger parts of Gaza and also of the West Bank. So it comes as no surprise that Egypt is still standing firm to its principle. We have seen a huge rift between the American President Donald Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during the past couple of weeks and months, and even last week. We have seen the statements of Prime Minister Netanyahu who rejected actually the 15-point plan of President Donald Trump, and this shows that this Prime Minister is not looking for peace, and he's not seeking for peace. He's only seeking to save himself from going to jail, because he knows that once the war on Gaza stops and once everything calms down, he will be trialed the next day, and he will probably spend the rest of his life in jail. And this is, of course, something he does not want, and he's trying to fight as much as he can. Yes. And he doesn't care if the whole world and the whole Middle East is suffering or is suffering from wars or gets into jeopardy, he is only looking for his own sake. He doesn't care about the Israeli public. He doesn't care about the Israeli citizens. He doesn't care about the Palestinians, and he doesn't care about having peace in the Middle East region at all.
Thank you for your answer. And this, we move next to Al Ahram Online. And Egypt, Turkey discuss bilateral ties, regional tensions, and Gaza. The Foreign Minister Badr Abdel-Ati received a phone call on Sunday from his Turkish counterpart Hakan Fidan to discuss strengthening bilateral relations and the latest regional developments. The Foreign Ministry said Abdel-Ati and Fidan praised the recent momentum in Egyptian-Turkish relations, and the two top diplomats stressed the importance of continuing strategic dialogue and expanding economic, trade and investment cooperation. And they also addressed the latest regional developments and efforts to reduce escalation and contain tensions. Abdel-Ati and Fidan exchanged views on regional security arrangements, emphasizing the urgency of reaching comprehensive, sustainable understanding to strengthen the regional security and stability. So this brings me to ask you, could you please shed more light on the development witnessed by the Egyptian-Turkish bilateral ties in the past few years?
Well, the Egyptian-Turkish bilateral relations have been more than excellent over the past decade. So it comes as no surprise that we see the constant updates between the different counterparts, like the foreign ministers, for example, exchanging information and updating themselves. We know that the relation between Turkey and Egypt suffered a little bit around 2010 and 2011, and in the aftermath of 2011, and after that, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and also President Tayyip Erdogan, a relation became very strong as well. We had a recent visit of the Turkish President Erdogan here in Egypt a while ago, where he even gifted President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi the first made in Turkey car, the TOG, and the electric car, and also President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi took President Erdogan for a ride in this car through the streets of Cairo, which is also something which takes place, which is taking place very rarely. So the relation between Turkey and Egypt has been very good and very strong over the past couple of years. Of course, Foreign Minister Badr Abdel-Ati, he discussed definitely the recent alliance between Turkey and Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, and I think this is something very important, because this alliance, as much as I would have wished that Egypt would have been part of this alliance as well, but maybe at a later stage we will be able to see something like this happen as well. Nevertheless, this alliance has been very important for the stability in the region, especially in terms of what we see with the ongoing war between the United States and Iran, and also the problems
Mr. Mohamed,
in the Red Sea.
I would like to ask you regarding the development manifested clearly by the outcome of the first high-level strategic cooperation meeting, which was held in Cairo in February 2026. And that was under the chairmanship of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Turkish President Recep Erdogan. Could you please give us more details here?
Yes, this is what I just mentioned earlier. This was the visit of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Cairo, and of course they discussed the most important issues, like the security issues and the cooperation between both countries in terms of the ongoing regional uncertainties in the region. And of course, this is something very important, because the alliance which we just witness between Turkey, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan just shows you how much important Turkey is for the stability in the Middle East region. And President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and President Tayyip Erdogan, they definitely discussed this as well last February as well. So this just shows you that the situation in the region is still critical, because of course Israel is trying to destabilize the situation in the region as much as they can, for the reasons I just mentioned, that that the Israeli Prime Minister is trying to save himself from going to trial and then from going to jail.
And we move on to some regional news, and we read from the Guardian. Iran issues tough demands to reopen Strait of Hormuz as deal still out of reach, and Tehran urges U.S. to correct its behavior as UAE says one of its ships targeted by Iranian missile. And Iran has issued tough new demands for reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and this is a deal to open the strategic waterway remained out of reach. And Iran's Supreme National Security Council said the Strait of Hormuz will not open until the United States corrects its behavior. And a state broadcaster published statement from the Council Secretary Mohamed, who is also commander in the Revolutionary Guard Corps. And the statement said that U.S. must never threaten Iran again, permanently end the war with Iran, and lift the naval blockade of Iranian ports and withdraw its military from the area. Could you please shed more light on the recent Iranian new conditions for reopening the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, the situation at the Strait of Hormuz is still as chaotic as it started. It's getting chaotic day after day. We see the statements of course, President Donald Trump regarding that the Iran problem and the Strait of Hormuz problem will be solved during the next couple of hours. We've heard this so many times, but I think it's much more complicated than that. I think the U.S. situation is extremely bad in the region because of the Hormuz Strait problems, and of course they clearly underestimated the willingness of the Iranian government, as well as the possibility of solving solving this issue in a few weeks. They clearly underestimated this issue, and I think the American situation is very bad, not only internally but also regionally in the whole Middle East region. And of course, President Trump has many problems inside. I mean, the upcoming midterm elections will be proving extremely difficult for him in light of these ongoing problems in the Strait of Hormuz. And we've seen, for example, many even social media activists, like for example Dan Bilzerian. He is running for Congress, and he's one of the most influential social media personalities. He's even been on the top 10 anti-Semites released from Israel for 2025. And he is clearly criticizing what Donald Trump has done, not only to the American people inside the United States by raising the fuel costs, but also for the whole Middle East region. And he's been one of the
Mr. Mohamed, let me pause you here. Let me pause you here and ask you
Israel as well
to know more details about this question as well. Do you think that if there is an Iranian-Omani agreement that will help reduce the problems caused by the closure and the targeting of vessels in the Strait of Hormuz?
I don't think that an Irani-Omani agreement will make a huge difference, because actually this is an international strait for international shipping, and I think Iran is just manipulating and just trying to gain some time to rebuild their military capabilities. And I don't think, I mean, we've seen that we clearly cannot trust any agreements done between the Iranian and the U.S. side, so let alone have an Iranian-Omani agreement. I think it's just a matter of trying to save some time and gain some time. But at the end of the day, the international community and all the big industrial countries are very keen to have an open Strait of Hormuz and have a free transportation in this very important strait. And I think this is something very important to be solved on an international level, not just between Iran and Oman.
Of course. Thank you, Mr. Mohamed Sheta, the international media expert, for joining us. And this concludes our press segment for today. Thank you for watching Night TV International and have a good day.